Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, I livestream the development of the AnyRPG Engine, a 100% free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. These videos are unscripted and give you a chance to take a behind-the-scenes look at the unfiltered, methodical side of software development. For more information on AnyRPG, be sure to check out AnyRPG.org, where you can find documentation on the engine, links to the full source code at the official GitHub repository, and downloadable copies of the AnyRPG Engine in Unity package format, as well as free playable versions of AnyRPG Alpha, a free game designed to showcase the features of the AnyRPG Engine. If you'd like to see more of this type of content in the future, be sure to like the videos, subscribe to the Cohesion YouTube channel, or just let me know in the comments what type of content you would like to see. In today's video, we will be adding a new feature to the engine, and I'll demonstrate quickly here why that feature is necessary, basically. So the point of any RPG is that you can actually have like multiple different types of game content, and you could have them like on your computer or whatever simultaneously. And one of the issues that I've noticed now that I separated the alpha game content and the example content is that they coexist. And I'll show you what happens as a result of that. If we start up the alpha load game manager, and we start up a new game, and looking at our character here, they have both the example speed of the wolf and speed of the wolf. And I don't really want that because I want these things to be able to coexist, basically. You'll see in my Halloween game I did a little bit of a hack where I just like renamed the resources folder to something invalid, but that's not really very user-friendly, and it's not very friendly like from a developer perspective either. So we're just going to make a little minor tweak here to the way that resources are loaded. So essentially what we want is we'll allow resources in their base folder, and anything you put in the base folder will just be sort of available to everything else in the game. But when it comes to things that you want separated, what you can do, and unfortunately, like, I wish there was a better way to do this, but I looked at the documentation and looked at the resources.load and load all, and you can't unfortunately filter out like resources folders by names that are higher in the directory hierarchy than resources. So the only way that you can filter is on directories that are after the resources name. So I wish, for example, that I could make it so that you could just easily filter by like engine/resources or alpha/resources, but it doesn't work that way. So what this means is if we want things to be properly filtered, we're going to have to basically have our content like directory name here twice. So what that means is, for example, if we put a folder in here and we call it example, and we move, highlight all this, whoops, having trouble clicking on that, okay, highlight all this stuff, control click to unselect example, and then drag everything in there. And now if we load the game, we should see that on our bars we no longer have the example copies of an ability. So let's go to new afraid that was going to happen. Actually, I think I actually have to fix the alpha launcher for this to work. So when I set a bunch of the defaults in the system configuration manager here, I didn't have overrides in the prefab variant in the alpha game manager, so we're referring actually to a lot of the example stuff, and that really shouldn't be such a big deal, except for, let's see, populate bag node. So this probably has something to do. I'm not sure with this right here. Let's just go take a look at that null reference exception, because we'll clearly need to fix it. So this says object not set to an instance of an object. So bagnode.myBagWindow.initialize window contents. So I guess, let's see here. We should just check if bagnode.myBagWindow does not equal null. We should try it, and otherwise let's just throw in a debug.log message there and let us know that the bag window was null. Oops. And then, so we've also got bank bag prefab. Which is this bank bag right here, and that doesn't look like it's null in here, so let's press play, see what happens. Okay, so we got the same issue again. Okay, so it definitely wasn't a null bag window. So I wonder if the bag itself was null. Let's check that. In order to do that, we can do like a little safety checking here and actually make a little more informative message. Okay, so what we want to do basically is say bag node does not equal null. Bag node dot toString, yeah, I guess. And then otherwise null. And then we can do the same thing over here. We can let's see, like honestly this entire thing should just return if that's not correct or done. So, or if the bag is null. So if bag equals null, return. Actually, no, you know what? We don't want to return because there is some stuff in here we want to do. Yeah, that's better. And because we still need to call the update inventory opacity at the end of that. So let's just go back and see where this is getting called from. Actually, we can just look up the stack for that. Create default bank bag. So default bank bag item name. Ah, yes. Okay, it is down there. The default bank bag right here is example bank, and it should be bank. And we need to apply that as an override in the alpha game manager. And the example backpack also needs to be changed to apply to prefab alpha game manager. And then we need basically some protection against that. And right here we're just grabbing something and it doesn't exist. So a better way to do this is to put in some protection here and basically go if bag equals null, we're going to return, actually no, yeah, actually that's fine. So we're also going to do a debug dot log error, and this is going to say, let's give a nice useful message here. Check inventory manager in inspector and set default bank bag to valid name. You know what? Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's maybe a bit silly having these capitals here, but I reserve these for when you actually have to go into the inspector and set stuff, which means if you're looking through the error log and you ever see capitals, you know it's like, okay, user intervention is needed. Not only that, but we're logging error, so we're not even going to let them have anything invalid in there. So that's a little better because it adds a little bit of protection there. I don't think we need these other debug messages here anymore. So we'll just comment that stuff out for now. And I think maybe a little bit of null protection around there. Okay, good. So let's try loading up the game again. The rest of the references to the example stuff will work because they were direct references. The reason those ones were failing was because they were text, which means we were just loading them directly out of the factory, which requires them to actually exist. And you know what? This example get up is also not going to work for us. So what we want to do is look for which ones we actually had in the alpha animation, or I mean the animation here. So I believe that was AnyRPG Resurrection or Resurrection 2. Okay, and let's look at Resurrection. I think it was Resurrection 2 because most people are laying this way, not the other way. Yeah, okay. So AnyRPG Resurrection 2 was the name of the animation that we were going to use. So we can go into the Alpha Game Manager and set that to AnyRPG Resurrection 2. Did I spell that right? No, one S, two R's. And then we are going to apply as an override in the Alpha Game Manager. And then the default casting animation name for alpha is AnyRPG Magic Slow Casting. So AnyRPG Magic Slow Casting, and we'll apply that override to alpha. And the default attack animation is, let's see if I have it in here. No, I think it was AnyRPG Star Punch. No, AnyRPG Star Hit. Right. AnyRPG Combat Unarmed Attack L1. Okay, that was the name of the default attack that we were using. Basically, it's just this. Wait, you know what? Maybe it wasn't L1. L1 is a low one. Let's see. So L2. Was it R1? Yeah, I think I was using R1. So we'll go put that in there, and then we will go back to the Alpha Load Game Manager, and this one was called AnyRPG Combat Unarmed Attack R1. Oh, wait, you know what? This lets us know what we're supposed to be overwriting. Huh. I made a mistake there. Okay. These moves right here are in the animation controller, and we don't use a different animation controller. Huh. I actually need to undo all of that stuff. There we go. Right, those are the overrides. Yeah, okay. So those are actually fine. It's because in the animation controller right here, I renamed all of those animations, and I haven't actually been back into the alpha game since then. So let's just press play here and see what happens. File save. Okay, good. So and that worked. By adding a new folder, we can see that the example spells are gone. So next up, we need to actually make it so we can basically selectively load content. So essentially, when I'm playing the example game, I don't want my regular speed of the wolf showing up there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new folder here, and we're gonna call it alpha. We're gonna control click, move everything into there. And this is what I was talking about with the name being duplicated. Like, we have to go alpha, resources alpha. We can't just filter on the one that's above there. So now we need the ability to selectively load that content. And I think the best way to do this, to make it the most configurable, is we should have multiple content. Because basically, like, let's say, for example, I wanted to include like chapter 1 or chapter 1, 2, and 3, like just selectively. I think that would be cool. So to do that, we'll want a list of strings basically right here. So let's do that, and to do that, we'll go into the System Configuration Manager. In our code, and then right here we're gonna serialize this field, and it's going to be a private. I need some more libraries here. Okay, I think it's using system dot collections and using system dot collections dot generic. Okay. Let's try it again. Private list of string. Let's call it load resources folders. And then what we will want to do next is make make that lowercase, and then make a property for it. So right click, quick actions and refactoring, encapsulate field, and then we'll go down to my load resources folders and save that. And now when we go back into the System Configuration Manager, we can tell it to load the alpha folder. So let's right click on that, apply as an override in our alpha game manager. So now what we need to do is we need to go into where these things are actually loaded, and that's over here in the resource managers. And right here, I think, I'm not sure, I'm gonna test this, but I think what we can do is just go for each, wait a minute, what is raw resources list? Okay, so basically it's an array of to basically just join that array of objects. So if SystemConfigurationManager does not equal null, SystemConfigurationManager.myInstance does not equal null, then what we want to do here is for each string load resources folder in System Configuration Manager .myInstance.myLoad resources folders, and I think what's going to be like the easiest way to do this, this brings us back an array, and if we go to the definition and see how raw resource list is created, it's created like that. So I just want to see for a second, C# join to arrays. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what I was looking to do. I was kind of hoping there was like an array.join command. Okay, so basically we will pretty much do that, I think. Okay, so let's try that. At the end, we'll do we'll set that raw resources list right here, and we'll make it the new array. Let's go back and just see how it was constructed again, of Unity objects, Unity Engine.object. Okay, and let's see, so we'll need a temporary variable here, so let's see, temp list equals empty array of Unity Engine.object. Right. Declared that backwards. Yeah, okay. So then we want, let's call this the original raw resource list. And then let's see what else do we need to do here. We need to keep track of the arrays. I wonder if actually having like a list of objects is going to be a little better for that. Honestly, I think it is. Let's just see if we can do that. So I actually need like a list of an array of Unity Engine objects. Can I create that? Okay. So then let's try this here. Master list dot add. What's going on there? Oh, right. Yeah, have to initialize that. Okay. Yeah. No? Right. Forgot those. Okay, that's better. So then I'm just gonna comment out that we don't need a temp resource list. We just want to basically go master list dot add resources.load all base ability resource class name, and this is where we want the load resources folder, and then a slash, and then that. Okay. And so now we've got all those in lists. So then we can pretty much do this, and we want to set our length, tmp length equals, no, int tmp length. I mean, these are automatically 0 anyway, but we'll just make it 0. And then we need to do a for each loop. And for each, we'll call them, right, for each Unity Engine object array, sublist in list, then tmp length plus equals sublist dot length, and now we can finally recreate our raw resource list here, and we will recreate it with temp length. Then what we need to do, let's just see how this copy command works here. I guess, do I have to go system.array.copy? You know why? Because I'm not using system in general. So let's fix that, and then I don't need to do that. Whoops. Okay, let's back up to where we just had array.copy. That's better. And then using system. Okay. So array.copy copies the source array to the destination array for that length, and this is the for version of it. So copy the source array at the source index to the destination array at the destination. Is that actually 5 parameters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, for that length. So what we want to do is this will be, in both cases, the raw resource list. We don't need that actually, because basically we're going to move this up here. Yeah. And then we are copying the source array, so sub list at source index 0 to destination array. Which is raw resource list. And let's see, what are these parameters again? Okay, how do I get the... And basically that's the start index. And since that was array2.length, that becomes sublist.length. And what I'll do here is go int index position equals 0. And then index position plus equals, what do we need there? Sublist dot length. this becomes index position. Okay, and that should work basically because what we're doing is we're copying sublist starting at sublist 0 onto raw resources list at raw resources list 0, which will grow over time for the new sublist dot length bytes. Then the index position gets moved up to the new sublist length before we get the new sublist. And at the end of all that, raw resource list has everything it needs. Okay, so this applies basically just to the system abilities. We're going to have to pretty much copy this code into pretty much copy this code downwards into our system resource manager or across into all the other children of that class. But first, let's just test to make sure it works. Okay, and it looks like we're okay. So then I'm going to hit play, and when we play a new game, we should get just speed of the wolf when we start. So let's try that. Nope. Check inventory manager in inspector and set default bank. Oh, did I like undo? No. Okay, well that's odd. Because basically, like, these are items, and the only thing that we changed was the ability manager. Was it backpack and bank, or was it AnyRPG backpack and AnyRPG bank? Let's go take a look at that. Oh, right, of course. Yeah, no, of course this won't work. I actually have to do that for everything else. Okay, right. So basically, now that I moved the items folder into the alpha directory, then that's going to stop working. So let's see what parts of this stuff can we move down into the base class. I think, let's see, we could move the master list down into the base class, and then that way it already exists. And then we could basically just have these couple of lines of code in each of the overrides. Then we could move all that down into the base class because we don't mention this stuff right here. So let's do that. And so we'll go down to the system resource manager here and go to definition. And this will be a protected list. Right, Control A, KF to fix the formatting. Alright, so now we've got this master list right here. Save that, and then we just need need to move this code down into base.loadResourceList and run this to set up the raw resource list, which will then be processed there. Perfect. So now we just need to basically copy this code right here, and right, actually we already have that much of it done, so just these 5 lines right here, and then we need to go through and do that for all the different resource managers. I was trying to do this like a T-type and get class by name in here, but apparently like this has to be there at compile time. If you know of a way to substitute that with some sort of like type of or get type string based on that, let me know. But when I tried it, it was failing for me because it, like, this value has to be known at compile time apparently. Because then we could basically just have the load resources list function not even necessary in all these classes, and when we made changes to it we wouldn't have to change it in all of these scripts here. So basically this gets replaced and baseability gets swapped out with the word skill in those 2 places. And then we got to do the same for the recipes. So baseability gets swapped out for recipe in those 2 places. And then we want to do the same thing for factions. So baseability gets swapped out for faction in those 2 places. And then we want to do the same thing for items, and this is actually what was crashing our editor there. So swap that out for item and swap that out for item. And then we want to do the same thing for currencies, so swap that out for currency and swap that out for currency. And then same thing for ability effects. So swap that out for ability effect and swap that out for ability effect. And then we want to do the same thing for quests. There. So swap that out for quest and swap this out for quest. Same thing for dialogues. So swap that out for dialogue and swap that out for dialogue. And same thing for scene nodes. Okay. And let's see what else. Same thing for holdable objects. Right here. And holdable object. And then change that out for holdable object. system equipment profiles. So equipment profile, swap that out for equipment profile, and swap that out for equipment profile. And in all of these, I'm just going to control AKF, control AKF, just to fix the formatting, control AKF, that one was already fixed, I guess, control AKF, control AKF, let's save all. I'm just going to close those ones that I already fixed the formatting on, control AKF, control AKF, control AKF, control AKF, control AKF, control AKF, control AKF. Alright, file, save all. Okay, good. So let's hop back into Unity here. And let's, you know what, there's a null reference here. Yeah. So that, there, that right there, we want to do that right here as well. Default backpack. Okay. That's better. So now we should get caught errors instead of null references. And let's play. And if we're really lucky, things work. Okay. That's really interesting. Let's see what we forgot here. We don't clear the master list. That's what happened. We should actually clear that master list immediately here. Yeah, okay. Master list.clear. And that's actually like better because we don't want this thing basically wasting memory anyway. It's not really used for anything. And let's actually see, do we actually use the raw resource list after we load up our other resource list? I don't think we do, because we basically just use it to instantiate scriptable objects. So I think it's probably also a good idea to like clear the raw resource list. Oh no, you know what? No, never mind. This raw resource list, right, it gets reset up there anyway. So it's fine here. Well, let's just keep it like that. At some point, actually, I'd be interested. I think I need to like run the profiler, and I just want to actually check like if there's a way I can figure out exactly if there is a bunch of memory taken by it. I'll do a little bit of testing on that later because I'm actually interested in performance tuning this. For now, though, what we just did should at least prevent this error message here. And play new game. Okay, much better. Yeah, so that's okay. Cancel the cutscene. I'm going to hit pause here. We don't have any error messages. And I have Speed of the Wolf. Okay, awesome. Now, let's check out the full potential of this feature. So if we want to make a game manager that only includes certain content, like let's say you wanted your game to have all the content from like chapter 1 of your game and all the content from chapter 2 of your game, then you could do something like this, and now it's going to load everything inside of the resources folder, also in the example folder. So let's just see what that is going to look like. So we'll just press play. And new game. And escape. And now we have all the spells from the example folder and all the spells from the Speed of the Wolf folder. So I am quite happy with that because that makes our loading of the resources so that we don't have to basically hack these folders out to, we can work on multiple games at a time independently just by using our prefab variant here. And that is exactly the functionality that I wanted to put in here today. So let's pop this back to size 1, and we're going to apply that to the alpha game manager. And then what we want to do is go into our example game here and look at our prefabs. No, scenes. Right. First we need to save the alpha load game manager. There we go. And yeah, game manager prefab, example game manager. And this is where we want to go 1, and we want that element to be called example, and now the example load game manager. Okay, good. Yeah, now the example load game manager will load content from the example folder, which is exactly what we want. So let's not forget to commit that as its own little self-contained commit to GitHub. So it's in my documents, Unity projects, AnyRPG alpha, changes here. Yep, that looks about right. So we're going to add all the files, and we are going to commit that with a message, add ScriptableObject folder filter to SystemConfigurationManager. And push that up. And now when people download this to work on it, they can independently work on multiple games, chapters, whatever they want, without having the content from the one appear in the other. A lot more user-friendly, I'd say. And no need to hack the resources folders and rename them anymore. So that is all that I wanted to cover for this particular episode. As always, if you like this type of content and you would like to see more of it in the future, then feel free to thumbs up the videos, subscribe to the Cohesion YouTube channel, or just leave a note in the comments telling me what you would like to see. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.